Okay, so if you've been following Blue Protocol Star Residence at all, you're probably aware that there are a few systems to keep track of in the game. One of the ones that's received quite a bit of bad press, and for good reason, is the Battle Imagine system. So, I want to explain how the Imagine Gacha works and provide some realistic Imagine loadouts in order to help clear up any confusion. So, to start, what are Battle Imagines? Well, let's say you have a party of Pokemon, except you only have 2 of them, and they only know one move, and that move has like a 70-second cooldown, and it'll take you like a month or a fat stack of Benjamins to catch it. So yeah, exactly like Pokemon. Kidding, I'm kidding, but to be real, a more accurate comparison would be how you utilize echoes in the game Wuthering Waves. You summon what's essentially a phantom of a world boss or elite mob you defeated, and they perform a skill. Furthermore, since they're equipped, they also can provide passive effects like percent increases to main stats or flat increases to substats. Now, where do you go for Imagines? All Imagine related activities are housed in this hub here. You've got Imagine Crafting, Dismantling, Advancing, and yes, the Imagine Gacha. So let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room. Yes, there is an Imagine Gacha, and yes, the gold tier Imagines are stronger than the purple ones. Now, I don't have an exact number since it'd be relative to what Imagine you'd be replacing. However, on average, a +5 gold Imagine is stronger than a +5 purple Imagine. But a +5 purple Imagine is around the same strength as a +3 gold one. That being said, to put the time and investment into perspective for getting a purple versus a gold Imagine, you could potentially get a +2 purple before you're ever ready to craft a base level gold Imagine. So how does the gacha itself work? Well, to start, pity is 80 pulls, and there is no soft pity. Every week you can designate a human Imagine to be your one-time guaranteed rare pull for that week. That means if you want to roll for another copy, you'll have to wait another week since the next rare pull is going to be random between the 4 possible human Imagine wills. On top of that, you've probably heard me refer to what you're pulling as the Imagine wills, and that's because what you're rolling for is actually just one part of what you need to craft a usable, equipable battle Imagine. Imagine crafting is accessed through the same NPC, and you'll see here that to craft an equipable Imagine, you need its will, an advanced or rare material if it's a purple or gold Imagine respectively, a basic material, and Luno. The advanced materials can be obtained through elite mob chests, while the rare materials can be obtained through field boss chests. Furthermore, both materials can be purchased directly through the auction house or through an advanced material box, which can be obtained through the Stim and Vault, the Battle Pass, or purchased directly in the Rose Orb Shop and Daily Mystery Store. Imagine crafting will also require a form of a basic material that can be obtained by hunting the associated normal mob, purchased directly through the auction house, or through basic material boxes which can be obtained through the Stim and Vault, Daily Mystery Store, received as rewards in the Battle Pass, or purchased directly in the Rose Orb Shop. Now, to break down the cost in US dollars to fully purchase everything for a human Imagine, assuming you go all the way to pity, the Imagine will runs you about $180, and then purchasing the advanced and basic materials through the Rose Orb Shop will run you around another $115, for a grand total of about $295, we'll just call it $300, to craft a base level human Imagine. By the way, it'll cost even more for an Imagine advancement or duplicate level, since you'll need more advanced materials for each advancement level on top of the Imagine will. And also, to clarify Imagine advancement, it requires the Imagine will, not the equipable Imagine, so do not craft multiples of the same Imagine. You'll just need one, and then the duplicate wills. With all that being said, if you wanted to save money, but not that much, it'll probably be cheaper to just convert Rose Orbs into Luno and buy what you want from the auction house, but you didn't hear that from me. And before I move on from the gacha, as always, please don't spend what you don't have. As I always say, it's just a game at the end of the day, and there's no need to make it more than that. Anyways, so how do we get Imagine wills? Well, obviously we've got the gacha, but for the majority of players, it'll be by completing Stim and Vault floors and opening Elite Mob and Field Boss chests for Stunt Will Fragments and Arcane Will Fragments respectively. Then, you can take 80 Stunt Will Fragments to craft a purple Imagine will, or 100 Arcane Will Fragments to craft a gold Imagine will. You can also technically craft a human Imagine will for 300 Arcane Will Fragments, but that wouldn't be worth it for a long time. Lastly, you can also dismantle any unwanted Imagines, but honestly, if it's a usable Imagine and you can list it in the auction house, I'd weigh your options to see if you can buy what you want from the Luno you can make. With all of that out of the way, it's time for the Imagine loadouts. If you couldn't tell, being fully kitted out with gold Imagines isn't very realistic, so I wanted to clear the air and give you all some realistic purple Imagines for each class specialization, as well as a general purpose best in slot gold Imagine to be aiming for when you start playing. To start, for the Shield Knight and Heavy Guardian tank classes, you'll be looking at the Jungle Goblin Warrior for strength and then the Goblin Guard for increased tankiness. From there, a general purpose best in slot gold imagine would be Tempest Ogre for its mob vacuum and damage reduction to replace the Jungle Goblin Warrior. Then, if you wanted to swipe for a human imagine, Tina to power up your damage dealers or Arona for comfort during raids with the party-wide revive would be your best bet. For the Wind Knight, Overdrive, and Skyward specs, your purple imagines would be Muku Warrior for the crit and Muku Scout for the attack percent. Then for the gold imagine, upgrading Muku Warrior to Muku Chief for even further crit should be the focus. For the Stormblade Iato / spec, some usable purple imagines would be the Muku Warrior and Muku Scout. And then for the gold imagine, you'll want to replace Muku Warrior with Muku Chief for the bonuses to crit. For the Stormblade Moonblade spec, your purple imagines would be Brigand Scout Leader and Muku Scout. Then, for a gold imagine, the Arachno Crab is your realistic choice. For the Marksman Wild Pack spec, your purple imagines would be the Muku Scout and the Brigand Scout Leader. Then, for a gold imagine, you'll replace Brigand Scout Leader with Muku Chief due to its scaling. For the Marksman Falconry spec, your purple imagines would be the Muku Scout and Muku Warrior, and your goal for a gold imagine will also be the Muku Chief to replace the Muku Warrior. Then, for the Frost Mage, Icicle, and Frostbeam specs, your purple imagines would be the Inferno Goblin Mage and Muku Scout, and your goal for a gold imagine should be getting and upgrading the Muku Chief to replace the Inferno Goblin Mage. Lastly, for the Healers, Beat Performer, and Verdant Oracle, your purple imagines would be the Inferno Goblin Mage and the Shadow Captain, and a gold imagine to aim for would be the Golden Juggernaut for the team shielding it provides. Furthermore, if you wanted to swipe for a human imagine, your best bets would be Tina to buff up your damage dealers or Arona to give you access to a party-wide revive. While I know there's some niche scenarios where other imagines might be better, again, I just wanted to provide what will be useful to you in most scenarios. Lastly, you do receive some free will wishes, albeit not many. You receive some from both the free and paid battle pass tracks, and you can purchase one, yes, just one, will wish coin per week through the Reputation shop, which you can receive the currency for through your Bureau commissions and World Boss Crusade dailies. And that about covers everything I wanted to touch on today for the Battle Imagine system. Sorry, I know that this one was a bit of a downer, but I wanted to make sure I cleared up any misunderstandings from my early guides now that more information is known. Thank you so much for watching, subscribe to keep up with the next video, and let me know in the comments what games you all have been playing as you've been waiting for the full release. Most importantly, have a blessed day.